I talked about this last week. I want to talk about it again, the George Zimmerman trial and what this means to this country. Now, before I do that, my good friend Jonathan Capehart at the Washington Post released an op-ed condemning a couple of news organizations for utilizing the wrong picture of Trayvon. So what they've done is because basically they're trying to smear Trayvon's character here. And so they've released a picture that is not Trayvon. It's actually a picture of The Game, who is a hip hop artist. In a recent, I want to say it was in a Vibe magazine article that he did, and they're saying this is Trayvon and look at him, he's a hoodlum and a thug. Or they didn't say it, but they're trying to show a picture of him looking thuggish, which is not, that picture is not Trayvon. It's really a picture of a hip hop artist, and not the 16-year-old Trayvon Martin who was killed in cold blood by George Zimmerman. Now, the fact that news organizations will continue to try to smear the character of a dead person blows my mind. It really does. It blows my mind. It lacks integrity. It lacks journalistic integrity. And beyond lacking journalistic integrity, it just shows how divided we are as a country when it comes to race relations. People will continue to try to make this case about Trayvon Martin. Even my producer, and we talked about this yesterday, he said the Trayvon Martin trial, and I said, Rich, it's not the Trayvon Martin trial. It's actually the George Zimmerman trial. Trayvon Martin is not on trial. Trayvon Martin is a dead 16-year-old who was killed in cold blood because an individual went too far. With that being said, this case has continued. This is week 3 of the trial, and in week 3, the prosecution sort of indicated, and they brought out evidence to indicate that George Zimmerman thinks he was some sort of police officer. And he thought he was police officer. He used police officer terminology, this, that, and the third. And he thinks that he's some sort of crime enforcement officer, and therefore he should go to jail and should be convicted because he thinks he's above the law, or he is the law, and he's not either of those things. But beyond that point, and beyond no matter what people say, this case for me is, and it's really based upon what the jury decides to do, but this is an open and shut case to me, because the self-defense in my mind goes out the window when an individual leaves their car with a loaded gun. When you call the police and say, hey, there's a strange person in my neighborhood, and the police say, okay, we're on our way, sit in your car, remain there, and you decide to get out of your vehicle and chase said individual, you are contributing to the problem. You are part of the problem, and your self-defense claim goes out the window because Trayvon was returning back to his father's girlfriend's house. Just that simple. He wasn't bothering you. If you didn't get out your car, there wouldn't have been a fight or a scuffle. If you didn't get out your car and try to chase him and then run him down, this wouldn't have happened. Not to mention the fact that you left your car with a loaded gun. Why would you leave your car with a loaded gun, George Zimmerman? That's what the people want to know. Why did you decide it was okay for you to leave your car with a loaded gun? This week in the trial, we also heard of how George Zimmerman reacted following the shooting. He was calm, not a big deal. Nothing went wrong. Nothing happened. He didn't just kill somebody in cold blood. There's a dead body laying on the floor that you just shot. And you're sitting there like, oh, yeah, he's dead. Here's the gun. I'm not upset. I'm not shaky. I'm not jittery. I sort of expected to do this. All to me says this is an open and shut case, and George Zimmerman is guilty of second-degree murder. He killed Trayvon Martin in cold blood. Nobody is denying those facts. He left his car when the police told him not to leave his vehicle. He chased down an innocent African-American boy wearing a hoodie. He engaged this innocent African-American boy wearing a hoodie in a scuffle. And then after engaging in the scuffle, he pulled out his loaded weapon and shot this individual in the in the chest, killing him in cold blood. And when the police showed up, he wasn't concerned. He wasn't alarmed. He wasn't scared. Nothing. Nothing. Just average normal day for George Zimmerman. Huh? That America speaks to me. That America says to me, this individual is guilty. Now, I am not on the jury. I'm not. And it's not my decision to make. But do note, no matter what happens in this case, like I said weeks and weeks previous, do not view the Trayvon Martin case in a vacuum. It took almost 45 days for them to finally charge George Zimmerman with second-degree murder. He walked free. Even though the investigators said, we think this guy's guilty of murder. The Stand Your Ground law was created for people like George Zimmerman to go around and kill black individuals for no reason in particular and say, it was in self-defense. I was scared. America, The stand your ground law is wrong for this country. It's wrong for Florida, and it should not be allowed to get individuals like George Zimmerman off of murder. Point blank, period.